Hi there. I welcome you all to this third session on IFRS 8 operating segments. I hope this session will enhance your knowledge on segment reporting. Without any further ado, I will directly jump to the topic that we're going to discuss on this video. That is, what do you mean by an operating segment? What is operating segments in the words of IFRS 8? So we will go through the definition that is provided in the standard and understand the rationale behind providing these definitions and what the definition is actually trying to say. So let's move on. Conditions as per IFRS 8. So there are three conditions that we need to look into. The first thing, there are three conditions 1, 2, and 3. And please note that all the conditions need to be satisfied to call a component as operating segment. So which means there are three conditions provided by the IFRS, and all the three conditions need to be satisfied to call a component as operating segments. So let's go through all of these and through a bird eye view. The first one I will read out. That engages in business activities. I've highlighted it in italics and bold because it has some relevance, which means that engages any business activity from which it earns revenue and incur expenses. Second point, whose operations are regularly reviewed by the CODM. The third one is for which discrete financial information is available. So let's go and understand the rationale behind each of these three items or three conditions that all need to be satisfied to call a component as operating segments. In point number one, the standard is of the opinion that the segment should be engaged in business activities. Business activities we mean sale and purchase, rendering services, because the purpose of segment reporting is to provide details regarding the nature and the financial effect of the business operations. I'll give you an example. Think about the head office functions or administrative function, providing any kind of segment information in the financial statement won't serve the purpose of IFRS 8. The IFRS 8's core principle is to provide information to the financial users regarding the financial effect and nature of various businesses in which the entity is engaged in. So, in my point of view, the IFRS's opinion that it more or related any business activities, which is the purpose for which the business is incorporated. We need to disclose how well the is doing in different areas that it is providing services or selling its goods to the ultimate consumer. So even though the segment is, and one more thing I just want to incorporate, think about it. Think about an entity which is yet to generate a revenue. Think about Twitter. Twitter is yet to generate a revenue, but it do have segment report because it do has segments because they incur expenses in respect of the business, in respect of its core activities, or in respect of its various activities for which the entity is incorporated. So it is not mandatory to have revenue to provide. It is not at all mandatory that you should have revenue in the current state, and and you have to provide disclosures like this. So the point of view is it should be a business activity. It should be engaged in business activity even though it's not generating any revenue, or it also includes any kind of intertransfer. For example, Department A is incorporated and it provides various raw materials to Department B, C, D. It it manufactures some goods which has some market value, and its main purpose is to transfer it to B, C, and D. Even though it's not incurring any revenue, but it though incurring expenses which are related to business activity. Hence, these are also form part of your segment report. Now let's discuss on the point number two. Whose operations are regularly reviewed by the CODM? CODM means Chief Operating Decision Maker. Now let's recap the management approach concept that we are following under IFRS 8. So the second point is closely related to the management approach. The management approach says that we need to understand the figures or the basis on the basis of which the management or the CO team has taken the decisions. We need to understand the mechanism provided by the segment reporting is to provide information to the shareholders in respect of the information in which or that are being used by the COD for the purpose of decision making. So the second point is more related to the management concept or management approach because they need to provide in the purpose is to provide information to the shareholders or to the stakeholders on what basis the management has taken decisions. So it has to be reviewed by them, right? Because if they are not reviewing this particular this particular component, and in such a case there is no purpose to provide the management approach concept. So it is basically due to the management approach concept. The third one is it has discrete financial information available because we need to provide certain disclosures like profit or loss, and in some cases, assets, liabilities, and non current assets and non current liabilities as well. So they have to provide financial information, or it should have financial information to cater the need of IFRS 8. So this is a small session on operating segments. Hope you like it. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.